Okay, hello everyone. Welcome back to our second class on logical fallacies. First of all, I'm really happy to see you again, and I hope you're feeling ready to think critically again because today's lesson is full of examples, stories, and analyses. And last time in lesson one, we talked about logic. We talked about what was logic and how it helped us to think clearly and what an argument is. And then we said what a logical fallacy means. I don't know if you remember, but we said that logic teaches us how to think, not what to think. So we also learned that a fallacy is an error in reasoning, a way of thinking that looks logical but is actually wrong. So today we start to exploring our first big category of fallacies, and it's fallacies of relevance. These fallacies are very common in everyday life, especially in media, politics, and even small conversations with your friends. And they are the kind of mistakes where people use reasons that sound interesting or emotional but are not really connected to the main point. If you guys ready, let's begin. First of all, we're going to do like a quick review from lesson one. So before we move forward, we will remind ourselves of a few things. We said every argument has two main parts, right? Right? We said premises and the conclusion. It has two parts. What was premises? Is there anyone who want to give an answer? Okay. Premises were the reasons, guys, the evidence, and the why part of the arguments. And there was conclusion. Conclusion was the main claim, and that was the what part of the the what part of the argument. If you want to make a good argument, our premises should really support the conclusion. But if you want to do a bad argument or a false one, uses reasons that look relevant but are actually not related. Let me give you an example to understand it better. You can trust her opinion about climate change. She failed science. She failed science in high school. Do you know what's wrong here? Do you want to say? Guys, it's very easy actually because we said the topic is climate change, but the speaker is talking about her grades. It's really not connected, right? And that means that it's not logic. That's emotion or an attack to the person. And this is one of the mistakes in exactly what we call a fallacy of relevance. But what are fallacies of relevance? Fallacies of relevance happen when a person gives a reason that is not truly related to the argument. The reason might be emotional, personal, or completely off topic. It might sound powerful, but logically it's empty. So in this lesson, we will study 6 major types of relevance fallacies. First one is ad hominem. It means it means personal attack, and then we will talk about straw man is misrepresenting the argument, and then red herring, and then appeal to emotion is using feelings instead of facts, and appeal to authority using irrelevant experts, and then appeal to popularity. That means following the crowd. We all know that term actually. And we will go one by one with examples, questions, and small reflections together. And I wrote some key points from lesson one to remember. Okay. What is ad hominem? Is there anyone who has an idea about that? I just want your guys' opinion. I just want to learn your guys' opinion. Okay, like we said, attacking the person. It's a Latin name, and it's the most famous one actually. This fallacy happens when someone attacks the person instead of their argument. For example, don't listen to Mark's opinion on education. He never even finished college. Here we're not discussing education. We're just attacking Mark, right? Maybe Mark didn't finish college, but that doesn't mean his ideas are wrong. It's really not related. Or if we can say another one, we can say you're a vegetarian, so of course you will say eating meat is bad. That's the same mistake, attacking the person's background, not the logic. So remember, the truth of an idea does not depend on who says it or who is it coming from. Okay? And there are three common types of ad hominem attacks. One of them is abusive ad hominem. This is the simplest one and it's directly insult. You're stupid, so your argument is stupid. Of course, this has zero logic. It only has aggression, right? Or circumstantial ad hominem. Here we attack someone's situation. We can say like, of course, the manager supports this law. He will make more money from it. Guys, we don't know the reality here, right? We're just making something up and then we are trying to believe it. We're trying to convince others to believe it. Maybe he will, but we still haven't discussed if the law is good or bad. We are not on the topic. We're just attacking someone's situation. So that means circumstantial ad hominem. And there's you too ad hominem. This means calling someone a hypocrite instead of answering their point. You say, smoking is bad, but you smoke. Okay, even if that's true, smoking is still unhealthy. The argument remains valid. I mean, you can say, cutting your hair looks bad on you, but your hair might be short. Okay, that doesn't change the situation. And I just want to ask something. Think about the last time you saw a debate or political discussion. It might be on TV or around your friends. Did the speakers talk about ideas or did they attack each other as people? That's the power of ad hominem. It distracts us from logic with emotion. Is there anyone who wants to say that? Did you guys watch lately debates or political discussions? I watched actually, and unfortunately, I don't want to watch news anymore. They're just ruining my psychology. Okay, it was the definition of ad hominem. There are forms of ad hominem, like I said, and there is strawman. It means misrepresenting the argument. Okay, now let's move to our second fallacy. Imagine you build a fake version of your opponent and made of straw because it's easier to attack than the real person, okay? That's exactly what this fallacy does. It happens when someone changes another person's argument, making it easier to just destroy. As an example, by the way, politicians use that so much, so you probably know what does it mean. As an example, person A says we should limit plastic use, and the person B says, so you want to ban all plastic and destroy our economy. It's like a manipulation, right? Person A never said ban all plastic. The argument was twisted into something extreme, into something that person A never had said. Or we can say, my teacher said we should eat less sugar, so my teacher wants us to stop enjoying food forever. Okay, this is strawman again. It's exaggerating to make the argument look silly. It's really not true. So I want to ask a question again, and I hope you guys answered. Have you ever said that's not what I meant? I think lots of people say it. I mean, in my real life, in my family, I use it so much because they always make something up and act like I said it, but that's not what I said, and it means that I'm probably a victim of a strawman fallacy. To avoid this, always repeat someone's point as they said it before you respond, guys. Okay, remind them what is their point, and that's how real logical discussion works. To learn how real logical discussion works, we should use them in our real life. And there's a definition of strongman fallacy in there too. It says this tactic can mislead audiences and create a false impression of the opponent's position. It's really used to make that actually. And people, I mean, if you watch the base, you will just see it. They usually use that. And our third fallacy is red herring, and it means that changing the topic. Okay, this name comes from an old English story. It has a story, and it's hunters used a fish called a red herring to distract dogs from the real trail. Okay, in logic, a red herring happens when someone changes the subject to distract you from the real issue. Um, let's explain it with an example. Okay, we say we should talk about how expensive university is. You say that, and your opinion said, but don't you think our football team is doing great? I mean, you're going to become like, what? What is it? I mean, why are you using those words? I wasn't meant that. So different topic, same conversation, total distraction. Is what are they trying to do? Or you say, why didn't you do your homework? And they say the internet was slow and the weather was bad. Again, irrelevant excuses, guys. It's really easy to figure out, and sometimes it's really not that easy. By the way, my examples were just to open to understand the topic. When I think about interviews or political debates I've seen, sometimes I notice people give long answers that never actually was the question. And that's a red herring in action, guys. To protect yourself from this, you can ask, are we still talking about the same question? If not, bring the topic back. You should say that. You're not going to answer their new topic because they're trying to distract you. So you shouldn't get fooled by that. Okay, that was red herring. I guess you all understand. Is if there is anyone wants to ask a question, I can answer it. There's a definition in there too. You can read it. But I said it already. Okay. Our third fallacy is appeal to emotion, and it's feelings instead of facts. Okay. I think it's really always from the title. Now this one is very powerful and very dangerous one. This fallacy happens when someone tries to make you feel something. It can be fear, sadness, anger, or pride instead of giving evidence, okay? They are using your heart. Of course, emotions are not bad, but when emotions replace logic, reasoning breaks, guys. If we can give an example, we can say appeal to pity. Please give me a good grade. I worked so hard and I really needed this. We can feel empty, yes, but hard work alone doesn't prove quality, so you should earn it. You should earn your grades to get them. You shouldn't pity yourself, okay? And there's appeal to fear, and it has little names, but I cannot pronounce it right now, so you can search it in online. If you don't support this new real appeal to fear, this is appeal to fear, by the way. If you don't support this new real, crime will increase and society will collapse. Fear replaces that data in here. They're trying to make you feel fear, so you shouldn't just actually get the point. And there's appeal to pride. All true patriots supports this decision. This falsely tries to make you feel unpatriotic, or if you disagree with that. And we can make a smaller fraction in there. When you hear something that makes you feel very emotional, you should stop and ask yourself, what is the evidence behind this feeling? Okay, why am I feeling this? How did I go there? How did I come there? If the answer is no, then it's not logic, it's emotional manipulation, guys. And there is appeal to authority. It's trusting the wrong expert, guys. There are really people who claims that they are experts, but actually they are not. And in social media we can see many of them. So you should choose your expert very carefully. Now, this one can be confusing, by the way. Sometimes listening to an expert is logical, like listening to a doctor about medicine or a scientist about climate change. Climate change. That's not a fallacy, okay? The fallacy happens when we rely on the wrong authority or use authority as the only reason. Example one is my favorite actor says this diet works, so it must be good. Your favorite actor is not a doctor, so you can't trust them about it. Okay, their opinion isn't real evidence. So because you love them and they are your favorite actors, it doesn't make the statement true. Okay. And the example two is a famous YouTuber says this crystal has healing powers. Guys, fame doesn't make someone an expert. We should understand it. We see someone who has 20 or even 100 followers. 100 is very less, by the way. 100,000. We see them 1,000 we see a 1,000 followers and we say, oh, they should have an expert about something. But that's really not true, because fame doesn't make someone an expert. And I want you to give a tip to remember. Appealing to authority is okay, only if the person is truly an expert in the topic and their opinion is supported by evidence, guys. You should just look out for the evidence. Always, always remember that evidence is the key point. If those two are missing, it's a fallacy. So next time you hear experts says, ask which experts, based on what evidence, who are they, where they came from. You should just search it, okay? You shouldn't just believe them. By the way, if you have questions, you can just cut my verse and ask me. I don't know. Okay, our sixth one is appeal to popularity. It means following the crowd. I talked about that in the last lesson too. And it's our last relevance fallacy, by the way. And this one says, if many people believe it, it must be true. We always believe that, guys. Even if we say, okay, I don't believe it, we want to feel like, is there a crowd in there? We can be safe, and their words are trustable. But it's really not true, because truth isn't a popularity contest. Everyone uses this phone, so it's the best phone. Maybe it's popular because of marketing, guys, not because of quality. As an example, I think Samsungs are better than iPhones, but most of the people use iPhones and they say it has a better quality, so people believe it. But it might be not that true, because iPhones marketings are better, right? Or millions of people believe these myths, so it must be real. Belief doesn't make something true. For a long time, millions of people believed the earth was flat, and this is not true. We all know that. They were wrong. People believe so many stupid things, so it doesn't make them true. We should know that. By the way, it's natural to want to belong to a group. I mean, you shouldn't feel guilty about that. We all want that. But being part of the crowd doesn't mean you're right. You should just know that. Okay, we are 16. We might be in a group. We might want to be in a group. We might think that supporting an idea that only we think is true might be hard, but we should know that being on the right side is always important. So critical thinkers can stand alone when the truth requires it, okay? If you believe there's a truth in there, just go in there. It doesn't mean, it's not important how many people support you. If it's true, then it's okay. It's all we should know. And let's do a small summary in there. What we learned so far. We learned fallacies of relevance are arguments that use reasons naturally connected to conclusion part. Here are the things that we covered. We said ad hominem, straw man, red herring, appeal to emotion, appeal to authority, and we said appeal to popularity. Ad hominem was attacking the person. Straw man was misrepresenting the argument in a short way. Red herring was changing the topic. Appeal to emotion was using feelings instead of facts. Discuss the appeal to the emotion fallacy, focusing on feelings over facts. And we said appeal to authority that means trusting irrelevant experts, and appeal to popularity means following the crowd. I was going to do a practice with a few examples, but there isn't anyone who gives an answer about them, so I'm just going to say. As an example, we said if you let students use phones, soon they won't study at all. What was that? It was slippery slope. We talked about that in last lesson too, but we will talk about it in the next lesson too. Or we said our leader supports this law, so it must be right. It's appeal to authority, etc., etc. And let's wrap up today's 80-minute journey. 80 minutes? No, it wasn't that long. It was like 20 minutes. Let's wrap up today's 20-minute journey. Fallacies of relevance are all about distraction. They use emotion, authority, or popularity instead of logic. We studied 6 main types. We said in there, and then have the tools to recognize when an argument is off topic or emotionally manipulative. Next class, we will go even deeper into the world of other fallacies and mistakes that happen because of unclear or tricky language. Okay, before you go, I want you to give a small challenge. For the next few days, every time you see a commercial, news post, or an online argument when you were scrolling on Insta, write down one example of relevance fallacy. Then bring it to our next lesson so we can analyze it together and we can discuss it better. Thank you all for your focus, for your curiosity. That's not that rude, but and your critical minds. And remember, guys, logic is not about winning arguments. It's about understanding the truth. See you next time for lesson 3. Have a good day.